Ever found yourself saying to yourself that you're so kind, you're so respectful, you're such a generous and giving person to other people? Why don't other people treat you that way? You're like, I don't get it. Some part of you is giving to other people in order to basically do like the golden rule, right? Like treat other people like you would like them to treat you. And there's a way that you might even be doing it, hoping that if you do this, then they'll reciprocate, right? It makes sense at some level, but it doesn't actually make sense when you look at the big picture of how things work, which is almost always we're in these patterns with people. So the more polarized we are on one side, the more we're going to attract somebody who's polarized on the other side. And what I mean by that is if we have abandoned and cut off from all the parts of ourselves that are quote unquote negative in those ways, like we cut off from, we will never be disrespectful. We don't ever want to be called selfish. We don't ever want to be called mean. If we've cut off from that, then on this side over here, we're like, we are the good person. We are the kind, generous, loving person. We are the one that does all the nice things. So we have basically an internal split. We've cut off from those parts. And we're over here just acting in these ways. Because, by the way, with good intention, right? Because we want to be good people, right? We want to be loving, good, kind people. And that's a beautiful thing. And unfortunately, often it means that we've had to abandon ourselves. We've had to abandon ourselves in a bid to uphold that image, to be that good, kind person, the one that we thought was going to get us what we wanted. We thought that if we gave all of that, we would finally win the love and approval of other people, but it doesn't work. Partially because we're attracting our polarities, but also here's another reason why. See, we think that the golden rule is like do unto others that we would wish for them to do to us, but actually the golden rule really does have to start with us. So what happens often is we are out of integrity, not just because of our shadow parts, but also because who we show in the outside world is not what we're doing on the inside. So in other words, we have an embodied respect, kindness, loving, generosity toward ourselves. So we're kind of giving from an empty cup. The way that we actually attract that in our life is by being it and giving it to ourselves. So we have to come back to ourselves and we have to come into that type of relationship with us. So rather than abandoning ourselves trying to win the love and approval out there in the world, we have to actually come internally and give ourselves love, approval, respect, kindness, generosity. I understand why you don't do it because that's not what anyone's doing. Everyone's just showing us to go out there and try to get it from everybody else. But believe me, I promise you, the path is to do it for yourself first.